Hi guys, welcome. My name's Tom. Thanks for joining me. In this video, it's just going to be a quick little time lapse of a much longer video that I also have on YouTube. The idea is that I'm going to take some of these longer videos that maybe not everyone wants to watch the full video, and I'm going to reproduce a much smaller time lapse version with a bit of narration over the top, just for those of you that might want to get a bit more of an overview of the painting but not want to watch the full thing. So that's the idea. Please do consider subscribing and give me a thumbs up if you like these videos. If you would like to hop over and see the full length video with a much bigger breakdown and links to the reference photo and the line drawing, you can see the links in the description and look in the top corner now for a link to that. Otherwise, let's just dive into the materials and then into the painting. So I'm going to be using A3 size Winsor & Newton classic paper, which is a wood pulp paper, but a really lovely one. It stays wet for a nice amount of time. Very workable, very forgiving, and I like using the cold press, kind of slightly rougher version. I've got my palette, got my water, bit of kitchen roll. I've got 4 brushes that I'm going to try and use. A couple of my go-to favourites. One of those is the Jackson's Raven Mop, the size 0, which is the one on the far left here. The smaller middle brush is my ProArt Proline size 10 round, slightly stiffer brush, great for a bit more control. And then a couple of brushes that I've been trying out recently, still getting to grips with them but really loving them, are the Winsor & Newton synthetic brushes. The larger one in the middle on the left is the medium size Quill, and then we have, that's a synthetic squirrel hair, and then we have a synthetic sable, which is the far right one, which is a size 8 round. Let's have a look at the colours. So colour wise, I've got a nice limited palette of a Prussian blue, which is a nice deep dark blue. It's cool enough and vibrant enough, it'll give us some nice bright greens for the background. Mixed with the red, it's going to give us some really lovely deep darks, and mixed with all of the other 2 primaries, we get some nice neutral deep darks for other parts of the bird. The quinacridone red is a slightly cooler red, although it's nice and clean and clear, so we'll give some nice vibrant oranges, even with the cooler aureolin yellow. Still give some nice kind of rusty bright oranges if I need them, but the aureolin yellow cool with the Prussian blue cool will give some more vibrant greens as well. And one colour that I've not mentioned here that I do use as a semi-opaque colour dropped in a few places is a permanent yellow orange, just to give a little bit more zing to that orange. Let's have a look at the painting. Nice watered down aureolin yellow, kind of tea or milky coffee consistency to kick off. Touch more aqua quinacridone red is just going to slowly bring in the orange, letting all the colours mix on the page. A little bit of the Prussian blue with the quinacridone red gives us this lovely soft purpley colour. And then if I add the tiniest touch of yellow, which is opposing to the purple, so they kind of cancel each other out, we get a more neutral grey colour, and also a deep dark if we mix a stronger paint consistency. Slowly pushing the colours darker on the bird by using less water, more pigment, quinacridone red. Little touch of orange dropped in, but really the oranges have been created out of the red and the yellow. The Prussian blue touched into predominantly aureolin yellow gives us some of those really vibrant, clean greens in the background. And the key here was to just keep it very light, keep it very simple, let all of those colours kind of flow together. I think that's the really important thing here. And then we're going to let that dry off, and we're going to lay in as kind of basic undercolour for the wing and the head. Again, this is Prussian blue and quinacridone red. Those are our only 2 choices really for this kind of darker colour. If it goes a bit too purple and I want it to be a bit more neutral, then I just drop in a bit of aureolin yellow. I then accidentally add in a little bit of warmth into that purpley colour and decide I really like it, so pop a little bit more in and lay in a basic kind of undertone or colour for the beak. That's the whole painting laid in. Lots of whites of the page, lots of light washes, because we can always go darker, we can always get rid of the whites of the page. So I'm going to just start at the top of the bird here with a slightly stronger single cream mixture of quinacridone red. Tiny touch of blue in will help darken it down. And then whilst that's still damp, I'm going to mix a nice deep dark out of the Prussian blue, quinacridone red and a touch of the yellow. And just hit the beak while it's still wet to get some flowing colours. Really, really simple approach to the head. I'm not aiming for all of the markings. As long as I leave a little bit of colour or white of the page around the eye, then I'm totally happy. Basically looking here to paint the shadows, so if I can link the shadow colours together, so quinacridone red coming in at single cream paint consistency, kind of finding my way using a damp brush to drag the pigment around, trying to create a nice sense of form. So we've got the light side, we've got our medium shadow, and then coming into the deep shadow, looking to connect all the shadows, so letting the legs just kind of be painted straight out of the colour of the underside. Little final touches of shadow in places just to give a bit more texture, and then nice deep dark with mostly Prussian blue, touch of quinacridone, touch of yellow, and paint over the top of the base colour of the wings, but leaving a little bit showing through to give the illusion of the feathers and a little bit of texture. And that's the bird predominantly done, coming and strengthening the tone on the branch there, kind of just finding my way naturally here, making it up as I go along, having a lot of fun with it. Still trying to let those colours flow as best I can, and really all that's left to do is drop in a bit of base colour for the bird, pop in a few extra little dark accents on the bird to really push that form, push that contrast a little bit more. Trying to create a nice variety of edges, some softer edges within the bird, within the shadow areas, harder edges in the light areas, a nice combination of different edges where the bird is interacting with the background. In terms of the eye, it was just a simple kind of muted grey colour for the pupil, and then just glazing over a bit of the Prussian blue in places to throw the white ring around the eye into shadow a little bit more, and that's basically it. I think the key to this one was understanding that we could really throw the colours around as long as we keep them light to start with, and then it's the shadows that tie it all together. We don't necessarily need complexity, it's just a good understanding of tonal values, that we have light areas, we have areas of kind of gentle and medium shadow, and then we have those areas where we can push the shadow a little bit darker. Generally painting the shadows wet into wet to keep things softer there. Then the only other consideration with something like this is how as I said, the bird interacts with the background. There's some areas where the bird is darker than the background and some areas where it's lighter than the background, and getting that kind of play and that counter change of tone I think is really important, so it doesn't have too much of a kind of stuck on look. So that's it guys, I hope you enjoyed it. Please do consider subscribing, drop me a comment to let me know what you thought of this. You can, as I said, find the longer version of this in the descriptions. You can also find there links to my Patreon page and Zoom demonstrations and a wildlife Zoom course that I have coming up. Even if you're watching this video down the line, there's always new dates and new courses coming out, so be sure to check that out. Until next time guys, happy living, happy painting, and I will see you in the next video.